How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. I really haven't given you guys a lot of updates of what's going on, where I've been. As you guys can see, I've been posting a little more the past few days, and that's because I moved. I am here in Dallas, Texas now. I completed the job and the task that I needed to do down there in Arizona. So it was a fun, and I really enjoyed Arizona, being home and having family nearby. But I took this opportunity, because I wanted to come back to Dallas. I wanted to come back to Texas. My first experience out in Texas was phenomenal. I absolutely fell in love with the state when I was down in Austin for that job. But, I wanted to come on here and introduce a new segment, kind of like a podcast. I want to have maybe some coworkers come on, or maybe some people come on, and I have a mic boom and everything like that, but I only have one. I wish I had another boom so it can look more aesthetically pleasing with having all the equipment and everything. But for now, I do have the correct equipment and everything to just film a one-on-one podcast and everything like that with crisp, clear audio. I know you guys can hear that. But I just wanted to say I truly highly thank you guys for shining a light into my world and my life that I put out there, and making me feel seen or whatever. I know I'm probably not wording that correctly, but I wanted to get in a little segment. I get a lot of questions, DMs, comments on TikTok. I post stuff about my life and where I'm at and my job and what I do and everything like that. People do swipe up. People do respond to those Instagram reels, the Facebook stories, Instagram. What else? There's the Snapchats and everything. They say, "Hey, how do I get into that job?" Or, I tried looking, but nobody's hiring. You got to know somebody to be somebody. The list can go on and on and on. And to be honest, there's some pros and cons about being in the industry and having this kind of job. Like right now with this Dallas job, I was told maybe to be here in 3 days. Say, hey, you need to pack all your stuff. You need to be in Dallas, start Monday in 3 days. Sometimes it's like that. And other times, like, oh, you can take a week off. You have 2 weeks to get there. You start date on this time, show up at this time. And if you cannot, we're most likely going to lay you off. You don't have a job, find another job. The industry is so, they don't care about you, really. Some of these huge companies, they treat you like a number. You're just a number to them. If not, they will get somebody else to do your job and fulfill your duties as needed. That's the sad truth. That's the cold hard truth, I guess, to all industry of construction, blue collar and everything. The pros about it, you get to travel with work. I've been to Salt Lake, to Texas, to New Mexico, to Arizona, and being part of Arizona that I never really knew growing up. And I'm just a small res kid from the reservation of northern Arizona, which is the Navajo Nation. And I do have clans, if you guys want to know. It's Twotsonin Schlingo Kiani Bashichin, Tachini Dashiche, Tsinanjina Edashanala. And I grew up all the way on the reservation for quite many years. I did some traveling while I was young. That was for my work, not my work, but my brother's work and all of that. And growing up on the reservation really taught me to be independent in a way, to have like many opportunities being passed by and seeing people grow up. I didn't really grow up with having internet or TV or cable or really anything. It was like a blank box growing up. We weren't fortunate to have such things, and in my time of growing up, we didn't have all of that nice stuff on the reservation just yet. The connectivity and everything was so low on the reservation that you could get a subscription for internet through like Frontier or whatever, but you couldn't really run anything off of that. phones were very hard to come by. There was no phones. All we had is flip phones. And a lot of people don't understand how hard it is to live on the reservation, especially a Navajo reservation, where the poverty rate is so high that it's hard. And I want to show you guys some clips. I'll probably throw it up here. But it's hard being on the reservation. I grew up in a town by Ganado, Arizona. And fortunately, my family, later in the years of me growing up in high school, whatever, we grew wealthy. Wealthy, I mean, like, kind of fortunate. And later on, I worked for the state of Arizona. And that taught me a lot about perseverance and independence and getting to know people and making connections. You know, connections is what you get good in life, and you get new jobs and everything like that. And I did meetings across Arizona with the state of Arizona, and we dealt a lot with FEMA, basically federal, basically monetary funds for emergency management, and DEMA, HERF funding for highway users revenue fund. All of that, and working with different grants to fund different road projects, road construction and all of that. And I was in the road construction field for about 6 months, and then after that I got promoted to a planning and engineering department, where I would plan the projects, I would get the budget together, I would call for maybe if we needed limestone gravel, AB gravel, or red dog. I would call the companies, hey, we need this much. How much can you quote me for that? Get all the projects lined up. All right, okay, we have all that gravel and everything set up for like dirt roads, gravel roads. And then later on, I would call for slurry. They call it, what is it? For the limestone. Elephant snot, I think is what they call it, one term. And then Durablend. All that is kind of like a slurry based. They spray it onto the gravel, and what you do is get a motor grader with some teeth on the mow board, and you just swish back and forth basically that gravel. And I'll show you guys some clips here. And you know, I did that for a while. It was very, very fun, and I truly enjoyed it. Later on down the road, I got an opportunity to work for a company that's pretty well known. And from there on, they took me everywhere. It was such a blessing that I started out as a helper for many years, maybe about, I think, 3 years. I think I just barely got promoted, to be honest to you guys. I barely was promoted to a journeyman pipe fitter. I finally broke out after like three and a half years. I've struggled in that aspect of kind of getting promoted, because the only reason why I didn't get promoted sooner was I move a lot. That's the job of us blue collar. We move a lot, and we go across the whole country, and it doesn't matter where you are. We get new superintendents, we get new project managers, and they don't really know how you work. And I'm on a job from maybe about 6 to 8 months, possibly a year. And it's kind of hard getting to know the superintendents and your foremans and general foremans, to where they don't trust you. You haven't built that trust. You haven't break that barrier yet with them. So they don't know what you can do and what you can't do. And they can't place you in a role that they can't trust you. You know what I mean? So finally, last job in Arizona, they finally seen and they finally pushed for me to get my to become a journeyman pipe fitter, and finally I broke out. And to be honest, I'm very hesitant. It still hasn't kicked in, and I don't know how this journey is gonna end up. And I got so used to being a helper, though I was doing like pipe fitters work, but in legality wise, not legality, but in terms that I could put it is the responsibility. I'm afraid of the responsibility. I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm afraid of the responsibility. I don't know if I can deal with the responsibility, to be honest. And it's gonna be a change for me. It's definitely gonna be a change for me to where I'm gonna have to get used to take on the role of the responsibility, and if I fuck up, it's my fuck up. I might be out of a job, and that's what scares me. But one time there's this fitter that I worked with for many years, and one of his famous slangs, or not slangs, but his terms that he always used is, never be scared. He's like, he always told me, I don't know why you're scared to pull measurements or scared to do this and that. You have to overcome. You have to be confident and show that you're confident. If you're not confident, you overthink things. Once you overthink things, you get shit messed up. And from then on, I just don't even think about it. Just don't even think about it. Do what I need to do. Verify with somebody if I need to. I would call over one of my buddies, or I would call over the foreman, whatever. Hey, is this correct? I think it's right, but can you just verify? It's not hard to ask for help. It's not hard to seek help. And it's all right to do that. It's all right to ask for help and everything like that. Like I said, I just barely broke out, and it's finally getting to me. Starting to overthink things, and it's quite not miserable, but it's quite overwhelming. So being on the road, you get a lot of travel time. I've been to many places, like I said, and it truly shows a lot. It teaches you a lot being on the road. It teaches you what can make you and what can break you. Being out on the road, seeing new places and going new places, exploring new places, meeting new people, having networking with people, and like this, showcasing whatever I'm doing on the road. And I'm gonna be point blank simple with you. It does get hard at times, but that's why you make connections. You network out there, and you go out. Not go out by go to bars, go to parties, go, meet people, start hooking up with people. No, not that. You make great connections. Like when I was in Arizona, when I was in Utah, you meet like barbers, like that cut your hair. You network with them, and then you build your relationship there with them. Or like my detailers in Arizona or in Utah, I built connections. I built like my networking, and I would get my detailers, and we were planning on doing a lot of content with my detailer out in Arizona. Unfortunately, it didn't work out because I had to move. Like I said, our job can literally change like that in a snap of a finger. One day we're in Arizona, next day we might be across the country. It all depends on timing and schedule. But one thing that I could really truly tell you guys is learn how to communicate, learn how to talk to people, and learn to network, learn to speak to people, learn to talk to people, learn to connect with people. That will take you a long ways in life and in this industry, because if people don't know who you are, you will stay in that spot of people not knowing who you are. You have to get out there, like me, how you guys probably discovered me on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, yada yada, right? So I'm networking with you guys. I'm getting to know you guys. I'm getting you guys know my story, where I've came from, and all of that. So yeah, I just wanted to have this little one-on-one time and little podcast moment. I do want to have Mr. Rig Welder Kyle come on and talk about his experience and ask some questions, and all of that, of some good people that we met on our last job, or maybe on his previous jobs that he worked on, him being a rig welder and having his own rig truck, and the money making in that aspect. I truly want to be motivational to you guys and speak on motivation with you all, so you all can see a little res kid making it off the reservation and going out and making some money. And I'm sure there's people doing way better out there than me, or doing less than me. But at the end of the day, one thing I always reflect on is you made it out of the reservation. You made it off the reservation. Your family, my family, is truly blessed, phenomenally blessed with the opportunities we get. And I'm proud of that. Coming from that, from my inner childhood, being in a highest poverty on the Navajo Nation, and actually that coming out of my mouth speaks wonders. It's truly something that I've never expected, but we're here. We're gonna make the most of it, and that will be the end of the segment. I truly thank you guys for all the support. Like, comment, subscribe, and give me some feedback of what you guys want me to talk about later. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.